I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you haven't reached your goals or if you've fallen off track, it's not because you're lazy, weak, or even unmotivated. It's because you don't have the right systems. So, if you're ready to step into your greatness and make your dreams a reality, the only problem is you need a system to get you there that actually works. I want you to tune into this episode to learn how to start taking aligned actions to step into your success era and actually achieve your wildest dreams using the 12-week year. When you aren't achieving the things you want in life, it can feel like you're breaking promises to yourself and aren't living up to your potential. But the thing is, manifesting our goals requires specific aligned actions that work best using a system that actually supports those efforts. By the end of this episode, you're going to know an in-depth summary of the book, The 12-Week Year, and how to apply those strategies. And don't worry about taking notes. I have a free 12-week year PDF download for you that includes a cheat sheet summary of the book, The 12-Week Year, as well as a weekly template to apply to your own life and your own goals. So I'm going to be talking about things like vision work and setting your goals and tracking them and many other tenets of the book. If you want to do it effectively, it's going to require you actually to do a deep dive into applying what you learn in this video. And you can do this on your own by taking good notes and applying it to your goal setting system. You can also use my Modern Vision Planner, which includes systems and strategies to do all this that I'm going to teach you. Whatever you choose, I do suggest doing it by hand first because research has shown that those who write their goals down by hand are more likely to achieve them, or in the words of Erica Baidu, write it down on real paper with real pencil and watch ish get real. So once you have it down on paper though, let's be real, in this fast-paced world we live in, it's also convenient to transfer that vision to a digital system for convenience and ease of access. For example, I recommend fully wrapping your brain around your larger vision by creating a digital vision board that can go along with your verbal write-up of your goals. And I like to have it digitally, that way I can print it out if I want it physically, but I can also have it like on my laptop and on my phone and things like that. And we're going to talk about this more, but I suggest tracking your 12-week year digitally too for ease of use for those same reasons, for convenience. Many of you know I've used Notion to create my digital vision board and to track my 12-week year goals after brainstorming them with pen and paper. But many of you have actually reached out to me in the comments and you just said, you know, I can't get with Notion, or you just find it hard to learn. I've had some people email me. So for a while, I have been on the hunt to offer you an alternative that is a little more user-friendly and can do the same things that I do in Notion. One that I really like for its ease of use and its aesthetic look is xTiles, and I'm so happy to say that I was able to partner with them to sponsor today's video. So before I break down all the tenets of the 12-week year, let me quickly show you how you can use xTiles to apply all of this in an easy and a user-friendly way, something you guys have been asking me for, and I'm going to show you some templates that actually come with xTiles that are free so you can start using this today. One of the things that I really like about this is, first of all, it's ease of use and you can make it really aesthetic and customizable. And also they have a lot of templates right here in this resources for you that are free, that are already plugged in, and a couple that I think are really great to apply the 12-week year that actually come with the xTiles software. Let me go into the vision board so you can see. It's kind of like a cross between Notion and bullet journaling. Let me scroll down. You can see here how you can move this, which is really great because you can't do this in Notion, but you can move this to the different grids if you see those grids and play around. So your vision board for a 12-week year can be really customized. This was a template, again, that came with the xTiles website. It's not something you have to purchase to add on. Another great thing that I found when I was researching this for you guys is you can add these to a group. So let's say I wanted to add these to a 12-week year group, and they can all be in this group when I want these different pages, which is pretty cool. So let's go back to my home page. There's another template that was loaded in here that I customized that I think is great for the 12-week year. So it had this image placed. So I just put this cute little goals. I put marble as the cover, and I gave you guys an example. Again, you can move all of this around to like how you want it to be. You can change the colors here. So let's say I wanted the background to be like a brown color, which is super cute. Say she wanted to learn
learn a new language. So you could put your moon goal here for the 12-week year. So that's like your larger yearly goal, your 12-week year goal here, and then your monthly priorities. And then you can set it up. This template came with this, and I just changed the titles for this to lead goals, the lead goals for that month. So you have everything laid out into one place in this workspace. So I think this is a great alternative to Notion if you're looking for something a little bit user-friendly that still has aesthetics in mind. I think you should definitely give xTiles a try and let me know what you think. I will link it below in the description below.
Okay, so now let's get to the meat of the 12-week year strategies. This might shock you, but achieving your goals starts with your mindset, not your actions, which is why the 12-week year authors start with shifting your mindset. And specifically, they talk about shifting your mindset from thinking about annualization to periodization and really redefining your year. So instead of thinking annually when it comes to your goals, you're going to start thinking in periods. And this is going to allow you to capitalize on your goal setting vibes 4 times a year. All that urgency that you get when you're setting your goals for the new year, and even at the end of the year when you're finishing the year, you want to finish the year strong, you're going to be able, instead of getting that once a year, you're going to be able to get it 4 times a year. And this is really great because urgency leads to action. When we first set our goals, that's when we're very motivated to get them done, especially when we find time is running out, that we get that same urgency, and that leads us to take more actions. Doing it in periods like that, for me, I follow calendar year, so I do it 4 times a year. Like I said, you get to capitalize on that much more. 12-week planning is better than annual planning in many different ways. First off, it's more predictable. It creates a stronger and a faster connection between actions and results, and it keeps you more focused. Okay, next up, I've said this before when explaining the 12-week year, I want you to tune into your inner Miss Cleo and have a vision. So discipline 1 from the book is to develop a vision. You can use my Mod Ambition Planner to do this in the goal planning section. It has achievement psychology and vision casting strategies based on proven mindset strategies, or you can do the thought work on your own, but just come up with a more larger than life vision of where you want to go, maybe for the year or for 5 years, and that's what I call your moon goals. And then from that, you're going to delineate what I call star goals to get you there, those more actionable lead goals that the book talks about. And when it comes to developing the vision and this first crucial part of the 12-week year strategy, the book talks about some common pitfalls that people fall into when approaching this first step. And those common pitfalls are: you don't take the power of vision seriously, the vision isn't meaningful to you, your vision can be too small, or you don't connect to your vision to your daily actions. So you really want to make your vision as meaningful as possible. You want to dream big, and then you want to take that vision and connect it to daily actions to get you there. And then some success tips that the book offers when it comes to your vision is to share your vision with loved ones that you can trust. Stay in touch with your vision, so revisit that goal planner throughout the year when you're setting your quarterly goals, and to truly live with intention. So you have this vision. Can you be intentional throughout the 12 weeks to stay aligned with this vision? Okay, if your attention has strayed, I want you to come back to me and listen up, because this next discipline is the meat and potatoes of the system. Discipline 2 is to plan your execution using the 12-week year. First thing you're going to do with that is to set your quarterly goals. I like to keep my lag goals as my yearly moon goals and use my quarterly goals as lead goals to get me there, to simplify this whole process. So I use a little bit of jargon. Let me explain what that means. The book talks about lag goals. Those are those big goals that we set out, are more, I guess, general and visionary, right? It could be for the year, it could be for the quarter. The lead goals that he speaks about are those things you're going to do every week, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So those are going to be those things that you actually have control of, that you can track to get you there. So the way that I do it is I have my moon goals as my yearly goals, and then my quarterly goals are more strategic to help me get there. And even within those quarterly goals, even though they're measurable, they're specific, all the SMART acronym stuff, my monthly priorities, which we'll probably talk about about in just a second, are also have lead goals to go with them. So in my 12-week year template, I have my monthly strategy of all my monthly goals, which the book calls monthly priorities. And then for each month, what I track in my tracker digitally is those actions that I determine that I'm going to do on a weekly basis to get there. So lag goals are those goals that kind of lag, meaning we're getting to them, and lead goals are what actually lead us to getting there. So let's talk a little bit more specifically about those lead goals, because those are going to be so important to actually help you reach success. I already mentioned the acronym SMART, which you've probably heard of, but let's talk about it. You want to make them specific and measurable. You want to state them also positively, so what you are going to do versus what you're not going to do. You want to ensure that they are realistic, and for that realistic stretch of time, you want to assign yourself accountability, whether that be a group that you're in, or just telling your partner, or just tracking. Habit tracking is a form of accountability too that can be useful. You want to make them time bound, so by X I'm going to get this done, or each week going to get this done, so you can say clearly yes or no whether you achieved it. And you want to set priorities to make this happen every day, every week, month. In the Mod Ambition 90-day planner, you're setting priorities for every segment that you're moving into, because it's so important to keep you on track with your goals. So like I said, I like to make my monthly goals my monthly priorities that he talks about. So set priorities and goals for each month of that 12-week year. They're going to be smart, and they're going to help you get there, but they're also going to help you stay aligned and on track with your goals, especially if you're neurodivergent and you find yourself getting that squirrel energy and taking yourself off task is actually preventing you from reaching your goals. Setting those monthly priorities and being intentional about them are going to help you stay on track. Okay, if you're finding this information helpful, please smash that like button and be sure to subscribe. It really helps me keep showing up to provide you with the best information on intentionally getting things done so you can enjoy your dream life. Okay, are you ready to hear how you're actually going to reach these goals you've set for yourself to achieve in only 12 weeks? Discipline number 3 is to control the process. So let's talk about some things you can do to actually control the process of getting more done in 12 weeks than most people do all year. One of the first things that the book talks about is weekly and daily planning to reflect on your progress, course correct if you need to, and then double down on what is actually working. So in my Mod Ambition goal planner, you have the goal planner. Probably most important is the 90-day planner or 12-week planner. You have quarterly planning in there, which is very important to set those 12-week year goals. Like I said, do brainstorming on pen and paper first before I move it into any type of digital system. And then it has monthly, weekly, and daily planning. The monthly planning, you're setting those month's priorities, and the weekly planning, you're being sure to stay on track with your monthly planning. So anytime that I go into a new segment, whether that be a new day, a new week, or a new month, I don't have to look at everything that I've done, all the thought work I've done in the past as far as setting my goals. I just have to look at that previous segment. So when I'm planning my day, I just have to look at my weekly plan. When I'm planning my week, I just have to look at my monthly plan. When I'm planning my month, I just got to look at my quarterly plan. And that's really, really helpful, like I said, especially if you have a neurospicy brain, to help keep you on track. Because a lot of you guys are not reaching your goals, not because you're lazy, not because you don't know how to get stuff done, but because you're not streamlined and you're not focused. So this type of really strategic planning, weekly and daily in particular, is going to help you do that. And moving on, time blocking and time auditing is very important. So being able to really manage your time is going to help you be successful. Time blocking in the Mod Ambition planner makes it so easy. That's why I created. You can do this in any planner, but the reason I like it in there is because you have blocks for each time of your day. It's all kind of strategically mapped out for you to be able to do time blocking like no other planner. And then also there's a column to kind of audit your time at the end of the day and say, did I get this done? If I did, yay, you get to get that little check. If you didn't, it's not a time to beat yourself up, but it is a time to become conscious of what got in your way. Are you not doing realistic planning? Some life circumstance get in the way that you can plan better for, those sorts of things. So you're gonna also do your key actions for your goals that are due this week. So you're gonna look at your lead goals. What I like to do is when I'm doing my weekly planning, I look at my lead goals for the week. I track my progress on the previous week, and then I input where I'm gonna do those things in in the upcoming week, right? You want to make sure that you're setting aside time for those key actions for your goals. The book also talks about a 3-hour strategic block each week that you're going to set aside to do deep work for your goals. So many of us do multitasking, even though we know that our brains are not meant for multitasking and it doesn't really get us anywhere. So that 3-hour strategic block, as they call it, is really going to be helpful to help you get into a flow state to do the deep work to reach your goals, whether it be writing if you're trying to get a book done, or working on a project, or filming if you're a content creator, those kinds of things. Setting aside time of uninterrupted time. You also want to have 1 or 2 30 to 60 minute, what they call buffer blocks a day, to do those low value things like email and emergent tasks that come up that we usually don't schedule for. I also like to just put buffer blocks, not for anything in particular, but just because the way my mind works, I see time a little bit differently, as most neurodivergent folks do. And I usually set out to do more than I can actually achieve in a day. And those buffer blocks just keep me humble and just keep it real. The book also talks about something very valuable called a 3-hour breakout block that you want to do in each week. They describe it as during work hours to do some non-work. So that can be getting away from work to recharge or to stay sharp, basically self-care. So I don't do this during working hours. I do make time to do it, but it's not always during like the week, because I kind of find that to be a privilege. But I do make sure to have that time in my week, and I even break it up. I don't always get the 3 hours all at once. I have 2 toddlers, okay, and a husband, and I'm a you guys know this, Bill, and if you've been around my channel before, I'm a neuropsychologist, all of the things. So find a way to get those 3 hours the best that you can. Be flexible, but do prioritize it. The book also talks when it comes to time management and planning your week, planning everything else like meetings, appointments, those sort of non-negotiables. I usually put those in my planner first, and then I kind of plan around those. So now let's talk about those key activities from the book that really help you stay aligned with controlling the process. Take 15 minutes every Monday. I do mine on Friday, but take it 15 minutes every week to plan your week. That is to really decide when you're going to complete those actions that are due, those lead actions, and put them into your calendar. You also want to reread your vision every morning if you have time, but at the bare minimum every week when you're planning your week. Like I said, you can look at your monthly goals, which has your vision baked into it if you don't have a lot of time. You can look at your vision board. You can look at your complete write-up of your vision if you want to, but making sure you're staying aligned with that overarching vision. And then he also talks about joining a WAM, which is a weekly accountability meeting, a 20-minute morning call where you share your successes and your challenges and your week score. I am thinking about bringing my accountability meeting back, but just finding a group of friends or like-minded individuals that you can just jump on a Zoom call with, share your wins and challenges, and hold each other accountable. Okay, this next discipline from the 12-week yearbook is what is going to catapult your success and keep you on track. Discipline number 4 is to measure your progress. So we talked about using xTiles before. So if you're looking for an easy system and you want to measure your progress, I suggest giving xTiles a try. Again, it's linked in my description below. Specifically within xTiles, they actually have 2 really great 12-week year templates that are already built in within the program that you can use and access to track your progress. And it also comes with everything else you need to implement the 12-week year, which is great. And one of the things I really like about xTiles as a Notion alternative is that when you're adding tasks to these 12-week year goals that you have, and they can show up actually in a whole dedicated panel that they have within xTiles to see all your tasks in one place. And this is great because you can give it a date, and then it will also input it into your xTiles calendar. So you can allow access through Google Calendar, and you can see everything in one place. There's also xTiles mobile, so you can access everything on the go. So this is a really great alternative to Notion and really great for the 12-week year. Or I have a 12-week year Notion template. You could also do it by hand, but you want to have a way to score your week with tracking. If you do this digitally, it's easier because you don't have to rewrite things every week, which is what I found when I used to do it by paper. Some of you guys might have been around when I was doing that, but whatever your preference to actually get it done, taking a moment to actually go back and look at your lead goals and see if you got it done. The book suggests that you want to be hitting at least 85% on each of your goals each week to stay on track with a 12-week year, meaning actually achieve your larger goal in 12 weeks. So just also kind of think about at what percentage am I getting done each week when it comes to each one of your lead goals. And that's because the book says scorekeeping lets us know if what we're doing is effective. So score your lead and your lag indicators. Now, this next 12-week year discipline is something that we talked a little bit about, but it's certainly my secret weapon to staying on track with my goals, and that is time management. So when it comes to productivity, I've actually laid out my entire productivity system in a video, which I will link for you guys at the end, that can give you a bird's eye view and some really good productivity strategies. But let's talk about some general things that you can do to manage your time well and make sure that you're being productive. So here's some ways to eliminate distractions. Number one, you're going to put your phone away when you're working. That's obvious. It's hard to do. It's easy to say, but I want you to actually do it. Next up, you can use the Pomodoro method. This helps people stay focused by working 50 minutes, setting a timer, and then taking a 10-minute break and then doing it again. Another one that I love to suggest is using alpha wave study music. You can just search on YouTube alpha wave study music. That's going to help your brain get into a flow state and help you stay focused while working. Also, having a wind-up work routine you do every day when you sit down and work to get your brain in the mindset of work, so you can kind of put this on autopilot. I like to set an aromatherapy candle, put on my alpha wave study music, look at my planner, and then I get to going. Also, just having a healthy foundation is going to support you in actually getting things done and being productive. I like to always teach something I call MAPS, which is mindfulness, appreciation, pleasure, and self-care or self-compassion, that I want you to do every day to vibrate high, to kind of set the foundation to be productive while you're trying to achieve these goals. So mindfulness are activities that you can do to stay connected to the present moment. Appreciation every day, having a gratitude practice. For pleasure, doing something every day that's going to make you feel fun and joy. And then self-care and self-compassion on a daily basis. You want to be thinking about sleep, nutrition, sobriety, getting movement into your everyday life, those kinds of things. So you've probably heard that Beyonce motivational speech floating around social media saying, be about it, go do it, all that kind of stuff. And you're looking at her like, but how, sis? How can I do all those things? I want to give you some principles of high performance that the book 12-Week Year talks about. First one is accountability breeds success. Being accountable to yourself, most importantly, being able to trust yourself that you're going to follow through with what it is you're setting out to do. Accountability is not about consequences, but ownership. It is a character trait, a life stance, a willingness to own your actions and results regardless of the circumstances. That's a quote from the book. So I want to share with you some ways the book offers to take accountability, to take that ownership over your goals. The first one they talk about is to resolve to never be the victim again, to just kind of stand up inside of yourself and take responsibility for your life. Number two is to stop feeling sorry for yourself. Three is to be willing to take different action. So if you notice things aren't working, to be able to pivot and to be flexible and have that autonomy again to make that decision to pivot. And then four, they talk about associating with accountables. So associate yourself with people that are getting things done, that are doing what they say they're going to do, and then strengthen your commitment. And let's talk a little bit more about what it means to strengthen your commitment, because that's something I really valued in the book, because it aligned with something that I really use a lot in my work as a neuropsychologist, which is acceptance and commitment therapy. So I'm going to give you some things from the book, but also some things just from my own background in psychology. So here's some things you can do to strengthen your commitment. The first one is to have a strong desire. If you know anything about the law of attraction, it starts with having that really strong desire for what you're doing. Other things is those keystone actions that we talked about, making sure you're getting those done and prioritizing that throughout the week. Another really helpful thing you can do is, before even making this commitment, is counting the cost. It's important to consider your own personal values, your season of life, your life domains, and really deciding, okay, what's the cost of this commitment, of this goal? And is it realistic? Is it something that I'm willing to do in this season of life before you commit to them. And then he talks about acting on commitments, not feelings. This is where the psychology part comes in. Something that I tout a lot on this channel is this concept of committed actions. It requires learning to accept and learn from challenging emotions, thoughts, and experiences instead of avoiding them. And the way you do this is by using tools to cope with those difficult emotions that get in the way of you achieving your goals, like anxiety, boredom, lack of motivation, all those things, or just other really difficult experiences in life. Instead of avoiding these by not doing any work, not getting out of bed, dilly-dallying on my phone, avoiding those difficult emotions, what can I do to accept them? And even if I have to carry them in the background, what tools do I have to do that so I can focus on committing to my values, committing to taking actions that are going to move me closer to actually what's most important to me. I can put this on a matrix for you guys to explain it. Let's say you have a goal of sitting down to write every day for an hour to get you closer to your goal of writing your book, right? But boredom creeps in, or maybe even anxiety, and in that hour that you've set aside to work, maybe you find yourself scrolling on social media because it's that instant gratification that is helping you avoid that anxiety that's underneath the surface, helping you avoid that boredom. Instead of doing that, I want you maybe to use some tools that you have, like deep breathing. Stop focusing on trying to get rid of the anxiety, but start focusing on how you can pull in other experiences within your experience. So maybe the anxiety is going to still be there, but you do some deep breathing and you pull in other things like relaxation or a sense of control. And with anxiety in the background, it's probably going to be lessened, even though that's not the goal. You decide to focus on committing to what's most important, to your values, to writing for that hour, and you decide to consciously take control and put that phone down. So those are some ideas of taking committed action. Along those lines, they also talk about greatness in the moment. Greatness is a journey, it's not a destination, so it's an action that we're going to be taking on a daily basis. You can do this by falling in love with delayed gratification and then breaking up with instant gratification. That gets us in trouble a lot. The book also quotes, results are not the attainment of greatness, but simply the confirmation of it. And what that means is, once you hit that result of achieving your goal, that is not the marker of greatness. You've already done that work by that greatness in the moment. The results are just depiction of the greatness that you've already been doing along the way. And then along with that, just really understanding, wrapping our brains around the present moment is all we truly have. Think about that when you're procrastinating or you have the urge to procrastinate, really seizing the moment. And then lastly, I do want to put up on the screen some of the actual emotional cycles of change, just so you can kind of understand that this is a process, it's a journey. I also have a video on the 5 stages of change that I will link in the description below, that's called Why You Can't Stick to New Habits. Really understanding what stage of change you are and meeting yourself there so you don't have these expectations that aren't fit for really where you are. And the stages of change are based on a lot of psychological research that says it was made for people that were trying to quit addictive behaviors, namely smoking. But what's most helpful when we're trying to achieve something is analyzing what stage am I in and what is most beneficial for that stage. I'll put some graph up on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. But that's really going to be crucial in helping yourself make more realistic goals. Remember, we want those lead goals to be realistic. So understanding that process of how we change when it comes to reaching these new goals is going to be helpful to you to give yourself some compassion. And along those lines, I want to read a quote from the book that might be helpful in helping you adjust to your first 12 weeks. And they say, your first 12 weeks will be the most difficult and the most important. They will have you adjust your environment and your daily actions, but if you apply these routines consistently for 12 weeks, your goal will most likely become a reality. One key aspect though is to actually engage with this system and commit to it. Don't just dabble. And I love that word, dabble. I hope this gives you a roundabout strategy of applying the 12-week year, of understanding it. Re-listen to this video if you need to. Apply it in any system that works for you. And until next time, cheers to planning, manifesting, and enjoying your dream life. Namaste.